Okay, my motivation, I kind of covered that. I want to share with you some simple applications. One of the reasons is to encourage other BI members to share their experiences. And certainly in one of my clubs, the International Model Club, we're beginning to do that. And then later on, we want to talk about how this could enhance investor communications, club communications. And let me continue. If you have any questions, by the way, just dive in. All right, so I'd like to share with you a number of applications here, summarizing an earnings call transcripts and why I found that useful. My New York club, we're a bunch of old people, okay? We need new members. And last summer, we got real serious about membership recruitment, and we used AI to help us out in a couple of ways, getting a timeline, that sort of thing. I'll cover that. And then kind of the basics of what we all do. You want information about a company. Maybe you want to find information about a technology, all right? And then there's these things called agents. Those of you who own ServiceNow or Salesforce.com, you hear there are 8 CEOs get on there and talk about agents. And so I hope by the end of this to just give you a simple example of an agent. And I looked at all just the free versions. A lot of the people that present, they have paid versions, and they do things that, you need a little bit more firepower. But I looked at all of the chatbots that you see there and made a comparison, and that's what I'll try to summarize. I talk about prompts. This is a little tutorial on how you should frame your prompts. I'm not going to get into it in real detail, but if you want good answer, you have to be very specific about what you ask the chatbot to do. It often helps to have the chatbot have a personality. Okay, I'll get into that. And very important is specify the format. Give it to me in bullet forms. Give it to me in 3 paragraphs. Give me a table. All right, so you need to be specific about the output, or else you're going to get a dump, and that will work against what you're trying to do. All right, so let's start with using large language models to summarize a transcript of an earnings call. Okay, and I'm going to use NICE, fourth quarter 24. They recently came out with their earnings, but I didn't have time to get to redo this to incorporate that. The purpose here isn't necessarily to analyze NICE; it's to see how we can, simplify things for the person that's interested in the stock. So when you download an earnings transcript, and this one, I think it's 22 pages, and there's 2 parts to it, and you get this run-on paragraph, and then you get into the question and answers, and it's a lot of reading, okay? And I've often wondered, hey, can I simplify this? And that's what I kind of set out to do. So, and playing around with it, I think there's a procedure I follow. Maybe others have done this. I'd be willing to, listen and see what you do. But the transcript will have 2 parts. It's what the company executives give their spin, and then the analysts pepper the executives with questions, which can be quite probing, and you can get a lot of useful information that way. So the first thing you want to do is note where the executive presentation ends and the analyst questioning begins. Upload the chat or the transcript to the chatbot, that little plus sign that I indicated on ChatGPT, and ask the chatbot to summarize each section separately. For example, I would and I'm going to show you the prompt that I use here. If you ask it to summarize the whole thing, on the question and answers, you get generalities. You don't really get a good summary. So here's what I asked each of the chatbots. I said, here's a transcript of the earnings call. First 7 pages are the CFO, and by the way, it also is the person running the earnings call, all right? And there might be some other people there. So you have to specify who you want to listen to. Okay, I want to listen to the CEO and the CFO and summarize in 3 or 4 bullets. And so I'll get that, and I'll show you what I got in a minute here. And then I follow it up, pages 8 to 22, we get the analyst questions and answers by the executives, and summarize each question, and let's see what I got. All right, and this was ChatGPT. ChatGPT does a pretty good job here, and so Scott Russell, the new CEO, this is the spin he gave about the company. Beth Gaspich is their CFO. And so it's, as you can see, instead of having those run-on paragraphs, I've got kind of nice, neat summaries here. The Q&A, okay. Each questioner is listed there, where they came from, Morgan Stanley, Jeffers, and the question and response. And, I went back and checked. So it faithfully summarized what was going on in the actual document. So here's my results. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that ChatGPT provided the best overall presentation. Everybody gave me 4 numbered segments, and good Q&A bulleted answers to questions. Perplexity probably produced one of the nicer presentations of the executive summaries, but their Q&A was completely inadequate. And it was sort of like the generalities I was talking to you. I don't know if you would call them hallucinations, but it was kind of loosely connected to the question. And so I'm not going to use Perplexity for this. Grok 3 produced a nice output and did something the other ones didn't. It actually named which executive answered which question. Okay. Gemini was okay. Copilot was okay. The output was a bunch of things that I didn't like the presentation. I asked Claude, and Claude came back, file too big. And that's a problem with the free chatbots. Okay, they can only take so much, and I'll talk about how to get around that a little bit later. DeepSeek, okay, they said server busy. So apparently the whole world is trying to use DeepSeek, and so I waited 5 minutes and said that's it. Going forward, I basically focused on the top 4, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok 3, and Gemini. Our New York Investment Club, we've been in operation now for 30 years. We're old, we need new members. And, there's the planning of an investment, a membership recruitment. You want to get the flyer, and I'll share with you my results. But let me see what I have here next. So, I went and reserved a room at the local library a month in advance, and I gave the chatbot a persona. Okay, namely me. Assume you're the president of the Medicine Club, planning a campaign to recruit new members. And I want a timeline, what are the things I should consider? And Gemini did pretty good on this. They gave me a whole list of things, and I asked, give me a table, all right? They gave me a pretty good table. Now, we didn't do everything here. I'm not going to ask, I'm not going to put it in the Buffalo News. So, we had to be selective of how we were going to do this. But this is a an example of what a chatbot can do for you if you want to plan something. I played around and give me a timeline of what I can do for a vacation. Actually, I wanted to say, hey, plan me a vacation to go see the U.S. Open tennis. All right, and I played around with that. I need to play around with it a little bit more, but those are the types of things you can do. All right. Now my New York club has a flyer that we've been using, and this is what it looks like. It's written by an engineer. It has no sex appeal, really. It has all the facts, and we knew that it needs to be better. And a lot of the people in my New York club were engineers from way back. So, what do you do? Okay, we're called the South Towns Investment Club. We want to create a poster advertising for new members, edit the attached draft. And so they're adults. We want the tone to be upbeat. And that's another thing you could do with these models is say, hey, what should the tone be? And then these things are called delimiters, quotate. I guess these are quotes, 3 quotes, top and bottom. There's other delimiters. And so you put in the old flyer and see what we get. So this was
7 p.m.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. I think my watch went off.
Okay. If somebody has a question, or if I'm going too fast, or don't be afraid to stop me. Okay. But hopefully we'll have time here for questions, and Phil and Sriram will make sure that I don't go overboard on time. But this is really quite an improvement. It's I guess not over the top, but hey, we're here for investor education. Are you intrigued by finance and investing? Okay, so it really improved the presentation, and we included with some editing here in our put this in our flyers. Okay, and then the presentation. I do want to talk about this. So to make the presentation a little bit more more pleasant, I wanted to put pictures in it, and emphasizing education, research, and investing. And so you have a prompt, and you ask it to draw a picture, and I have to go through several iterations, but then out popped this thing on education, which I thought was really great. A piggy bank sitting on all this money with a mortarboard. Emphasizing research. I initially, after many iterations, got this thing with a finger. The finger looked kind of gnarly. Okay, so I said, give me another one. And I got the one here below, which we used in the presentation. And the investment, I think, says it all. You plant a seed and watch your stock grow. But I had fun.
Can I ask you a question now?
Sure.
Should we be seeing your screen and see what you got?
Are you not seeing my
screen?
Can
you show us that? No, we're only seeing your face. I'm only seeing your face. How about everybody else?
I'm sharing.
Yeah, we can see his presentation.
Yeah, we can see it.
Why
Yeah.
am I not seeing it?
See if it is in a different screen.
It might be a setting, Janet, on your Zoom. You might have to go up in the upper right corner and say view, and you want to say that you want to see like the speaker or side-by-side gallery or something like that. Maybe you have something else set up on your Zoom.
Let me see what's here.
If it doesn't say standard, you want to check standard, I would think.
Yeah, and certainly if there's anybody else, yeah.
What I see is a speaker view, the gallery view. You see that up in the top right-hand corner? I'm not seeing any screen. Gallery view would be the people that are here, and that's what I see. I see all of you,
No, I
Right,
wanna
but
see
you don't
standard.
see,
but
but you don't see the presentation that I'm sharing.
no.
Okay, I wonder if
And
anybody else has this problem.
I can
I'm
see
looking
your
down
screen.
down
And
at the
other
bottom. I'm
people in the chat
looking.
said they could too. Just try some of those different settings. I don't
Yeah,
understand why you wouldn't be
um,
able to see that.
Another way is see if you can see any other, like my face or Chris's face. And
Oh yeah, I can see your faces. I can
okay,
see Chris, and I
scroll
can
left or right.
see.
You should be able to see a small little screen with his picture in there, with his screen. His
Oh, here we
presentation.
go. I see something now.
Yeah,
Okay.
double click on
So
that. That should make it
okay.
larger.
All right. So
Okay,
now
Janet?
I do have a screen now. It shows a piggy bank research investing. Is that what I should be seeing?
That's it. That's it. Okay.
Okay, there you go then.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you for helping me out there.
Okay. And yeah, Janet, this was these are some of the props that I used in my presentation to prospective members. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. We had 10 interested people, 5 joined, 2 were pending. Now, let me be clear. It's not the fact that we used a chat bot that got us these people, okay? What it was is it got us as members off of our duffs to go out into the, our churches, synagogues, places where we work out and really, try to get people interested. And so, that's really the key to the new members that we got. But in the process, the timeline and the ability to take this sterile flyer that we've been using for years, knowing that it's, just doesn't have the right emotional intensity, how to improve it, okay? And nobody else took the lead on it, but ChatGPT did. Okay, that's one. So let me go on. I asked a couple of our clubs are interested, at least one of them, in Vertiv Holdings. And if you look at the stock price on that, it's all over the board, all over the place. And it has something to do with data centers. But what do they actually do? What are the products, revenues, and that sort of thing? So I asked the chatbots for questions along these lines. These are some of the questions that I asked. These are sequential prompts. First of all, I gave it an identity. You're an expert in technology companies. Provide a company overview. Let's just get an overview. Then let's dig deeper. What products do they provide? Are they international? And if they are, what are the top 5 countries? All right. So I'm testing it out here. All right. Who are the main competitors? And provide a table showing approximate market share for each competitor. And finally, at the bottom, you see perform a SWOT analysis. I got this idea from Sue Coster at Big 24. And what I found is that all the chatbots know what a SWOT analysis is. It's an assessment of the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. It's similar to the bulls and the bears of Morningstar, but it goes into it a little bit deeper. Okay, not going to go into details about Vertiv, but how did the various chatbots do? They all produced a nice, informative review. ChatGPT Grok 3 Perplexity used FY 2024 data, and you can go back and check on it. Yeah, it did that. Gemini used the first quarter 2025 data, and that was okay. Had minimal description though for each of the products and services. Grok 3, okay. It gave the detailed breakout, far exceeding other bots. So it actually went deeper. So there were the basic products and services, and then they kind of went deeper into it. and then showed the assumptions that they made going deeper, the references, and this messy table, okay? So it was, well, anyway, I'm just describing to you what I got. If you want to really go deep into this, you might want to consider Grok 3. Now, international footprint, let's see, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok 3 produce legitimate overall revenue by region. And, you could check this, you can actually check this on Value Line. Gemini did not produce a table, even though I asked for it. Grok 3, again, gave a very detailed breakdown, and again, a very messy table. Perplexity gave me a table of just regions, not countries, and what the region breakout, which you can get on Value Line, it was, the numbers were wrong, all right? Competition and market share, ChatGPT listed only Schneider Electric and Emerson, which I guess are the main competitors, but there are others. Grok 3, Gemini listed several competitors. Again, Grok 3 gave a detailed, messy table. Perplexity gave the same competitors, Gemini and Grok, but again, the percentages were incorrect. SWOT analysis, I thought it did a real good job of looking at the good, bad, and the ugly of this particular company. And it was different, kind of different setup on each one, but they covered all of the main issues. Interestingly, Grok 3 was the only one to mention VRT's heavy debt load. So in conclusion, is you want to dig deep, but you might want to use more than one chatbot. I think ChatGPT is okay. I definitely would consider Grok 3. Okay. All right, let me go on here. Let's see what we have next here. All right, so we talked about, hey, you're interested in the company and you don't know exactly what it does. But, and by the way, if you look at the company description in Yahoo, you get that run-on sentence that just in top, it's really difficult to understand what they really do. And let's see, Morningstar gives that little description again, which isn't very good. So, which is one reason why you'll go to something like a chatbot to get more information. Now, data centers. Okay, we're all into data centers and the chips. A lot of us focus a lot on the chips. Some focus on the energy requirements and all of this kind of stuff. So let's learn a little bit about a data center. And there's just an awful lot that goes into a data center. All right, as you can see here, besides power, you got to worry about the land, the basic materials, including the silicon for all those NVIDIA chips. You need good data. And we're running out of good data, so I'm told. Anyway, I wanted to know a little bit more about what goes into a data center. So I, again, gave the chatbots an identity, an expert in information technology. What goes into a data center? And I list a whole bunch of things. Describe what components are housed in there, the racks, the semiconductors. Description should be numbered paragraphs using non-technical language, and above all, provide references. All right. I can't learn everything about a data center, but maybe it can lead me. I want a summary, and I want to be able to go to something that's more detailed if needed. And my follow-up was, what exactly do data centers do? Here's my response summaries. All of these large language models, all of these chatbots produce 10 numbered informative responses. All right, so I got kind of a general overview of what the company did. Digging a little deeper, remember I asked it for references. This is where I think Perplexity is really good. So it gave me all these numbered references, and it put numbers down for what it had in the 10 bullets. There are 41 references, and then Perplexity highlighted 5, and I checked all 5, and they were really great. You know, you can really dig down deep into what goes into a data center. Gemini had 3 references, and they were inadequate. I mean, it was like a newsletter on data center outages. It was obviously written for people that are operating data centers. And the other 2 were off the wall. ChatGPT gave me 2 links that didn't work. One video that was pretty good. Grok 3, their references were a little bit like Gemini's, as a matter of fact. But it gave me 2 videos and 2 books if you really want to get into things. And the videos are pretty good. Perplexity is the best. I just have to note that Grok 3 will perhaps give you a little bit more, and that seems to be a general rule here. Grok 3 seems to give, maybe go a little bit beyond what you initially asked, maybe to your detriment, but also maybe to your advantage. Okay. So you hear the CEO of Salesforce talking about his agents, and he if you ever hear him, he badmouths all of his competitors anyway. So anyway, I said, this is kind of a simple one. Okay, I'm giving my chatbot the identity of a financial advisor, and I describe myself. I've got some stocks, some aggressive stocks. I've got some stocks that are more tame. I've heard of a company called Vertiv Holdings, thinking about buying the stock, and I gave them the value line. And so you have to set some ground rules for the chatbot acting as an agent. So you, the chatbot, are going to ask me questions about the stock, and we're going to keep going until I type the word stop. Afterwards, you're going to provide your opinion on whether I should buy the stock or not. And so I got a whole list of questions, and this is kind of stuff you would expect if you actually were talking to somebody. What's your risk tolerance, time horizon, this, that, and the other thing. I probably should have gone longer, and I probably want to explore this maybe a little bit more. But then I said stop, and it one of the first things it says, hey, you better give me more information than just value line. All right, as a starter. Kind of obvious. And how you do that, it's kind of interesting how you would do that. I'll talk about that in a bit. What else did it say? It indicated it was speculative, and if I'm short term, I better have an exit strategy. So I got some reasonable results, reasonable advice, I guess I would say. So this is the idea of a simple agent, and agents are now the big application. I mentioned Salesforce, I mentioned ServiceNow, NICE. All of these are using agents to do their activities. Okay, nearing the end here. Additional tools to consider. I've just considered the free chat bots, and they have limitations on size inputs, all right, as evidenced by trying to use Claude. Google has free applications to address these limitations. Google AI Studio, if you could feed it a book and it will summarize it, I think. I don't know what the limitations are. But you could also play around on Google AI Studio. Like if you want to summarize what it is, you can set the tone, okay? And you can do other things. You could, I guess, there's these things called, it's escaping me right now, but how big of a bite can you take and remember? All right, how big of a bite can an LM remember? So this is something you might want to consider if you have a lengthy report. Notebook LM, I know a lot of people are using Notebook LM. The thing there is you could put in several documents at once and have it summarize what you have. Again, I have not tested this out, but in my previous example, when it said, "Hey, you know, my advisor is saying, okay, give me more information. You know, give me another document," I could probably use Notebook LM to do this and run that same routine and feed in Morningstar, CFRA, and whatever, and then play around with that and see what I get. How useful that is for our investing, I don't know, but you know, for those that are interested in, you know, exploring, and it's fun to explore, you know, you might consider it. And if you really want to dig deep into large language models, you want to go to Google Colabs, right? Now, for those that want to learn a little bit more about AI and prompt engineering, I would recommend these. That's what I did. I got really into it. These are very simple courses, $45, okay, for Coursera. AI Essentials, and then the prompt engineering. That's where it gets, you know, all the different kinds of prompting. And I just kind of started, you know, I'm at the surface, all right? You can really, you know, there's, they have different words for different descriptions of the types of prompts that you can use. Khan Academy, many of you probably heard about Khan Academy. Khan has all these videos. A lot of it's STEM related, science, chemistry, math, but they have a neat sequence of courses on economics, you know, microeconomics, macroeconomics, and it's simple videos. You know, it's not, you know, you don't have to have an MBA to understand what they're doing. And the other thing that I found interesting about Conmigo is it has a chat bot called Conmigo. All right. And if you're going through one of these courses, watching the videos, answering some questions, it'll kind of say, hey, do you want, kind of give you a quiz? And you can shoo it away if you want. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting addition. If anybody watching this is in education, okay, and if it's in economics or history, there's a couple of segments there with history. You can let the Conmigo write you a lesson plan, a real detailed lesson plan for the activity that you're truly interested in. So I've used Khan Academy a lot, and you know, with Conmigo, in the education world, you know, there's just a lot there. Okay, in closing, I borrowed this from Susie Artsberger and asked her if I can use it. She gave me her permission. But this is how she closed one of her presentations on large language models. So if you go to Ticker Talk, starting in June 2024, and there were 4 other Ticker Talks where she really went into details about the last one in particular, while I'm thinking about it, was on prompt engineering, the types of prompts that you can use. Now she's using a paid version, so I don't know if you could do all of these on these, but this particular slide lists, the chatbot, and how you access it. It doesn't have it doesn't have Grok 3. So what you have to do if you want Grok 3, you have to type in Grok 3, and I guess one of your options is AI. You want to make sure you get Grok 3. I think there's another type of Grok which may not give you the detailed information that I found here. Okay, I don't know where I'm at in time, but this is what I wanted to present. And any questions, comments? I hope that all of you will think about using these chatbots for your
Yes,
not only
I have a
better
question.
investing, but other. Yes, Christian.
Hi, thank you. What a great presentation. And I kind of came in a little late, and I'm sorry if I might have missed this at the beginning. Is this presentation available for later review?
It's going to be it's being recorded, and it will be on the Better Investing website somewhere.
Okay, what the
Correct, yeah.
slides are not available?
Um,
If
well,
not,
yeah,
that's
yeah. Let me think about that.
okay, no problem. If not, that's okay. Then I'll just review the
Yeah, I haven't thought about that, and I don't know. I think I have to ask Chris
Yeah,
and others.
typically we post the slides along with the presentation. So yes.
Oh, okay. The answer is yes. So this will be uploaded to alongside the video of this presentation, Christian.
Oh, thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Very informative, very educational.
Any other questions, comments, or share verbally some of the things that you might have done using these chatbots that made life maybe a little bit simpler for you, or well, that you found
I
interesting.
think your presentation was, yeah, I think your presentation was great. One of the things that they did at the meeting that I went to is they actually put one of the prompts in was, would you take this particular stock and apply the better investing methodology? And and it was amazing. They know everything about better investing, and they did it. I mean, it just blew me away.
Was
They've obviously collected enough material. They can go in and do that.
But what was the name of that, Janet? I think we talked about this before. You used that same chatbot for what's called the Chowder Rule.
Yeah, it's called the Chowder Rule. It's very interesting. You
think she
might want to
used
just
Grok.
check it out. First of all, I used Grok, and then I
Okay,
went in and
That's
asked a
right.
question and asked them to apply the Chowder Rule to these particular stocks that I was thinking of investing in. So it came back, and first thing it did was explain what the Chowder Rule is, which is very helpful because you want to know what in the heck is it, what is it doing? So if anybody's interested, it is a really interesting way to analyze, in my particular case, it was going to be some dividend stocks that I had. And I kind of wondered, I was thinking about getting rid of one, but I wasn't. And I wouldn't, I'm like you, I think you really should go into more than one of these applications and find out what they have to say. I don't believe in just taking one and believing everything, and the other thing is just a little of your own common sense.
Right. So you answered my question.
That's my opinion.
I forgot it was Grok 3 that you used, and you used it with that general statement about applying better investing rules to a stock. I forget the exact words you said, but
Principles.
principles. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
I have to try that out.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there's an AI
Yeah.
assistant.
But I think you could do that with any one of these.
Let's
There's a
see.
what?
No, I was just saying, it's Bob Chiquino, that there's an AI assistant associated with this Zoom, and it's asking me if I want a summary of what the speaker said.
Huh.
Do you see it? It's on the screen. It's on the screen. It's like a little star it blinks, and it's asking me. I could click on summary, and it's
Oh
going
my
to give me a
heaven.
transcript of the meeting.
Okay. I'm looking at my
Oh my
screen.
heaven.
I think what I need to do is I see something. I see an annotation. Let me
No,
escape.
it's up in the top toolbar and the bottom toolbar. It says AI companion.
Okay. The only thing I see is let me press OK here.
I don't.
You know what you were talking about? I saw that at the very beginning when I first signed on. I saw those options, and I might have to go to another screen, but that's quite interesting. So, Robert, why don't you press it, see what you get, and maybe share it with us.
I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening. Let me try something different.
Well, yeah, let me mark that down. Something to
Yeah.
explore here.
It says transcript, but it says learn more, but nothing's happening when I click on it. I'm curious to see what's going on here.
One
wait,
thing I see on my screen is called annotate, and let's see if I press that.
well, something's
get-
happening now. Let's see how does Zoom companion features handle.
So this allows me to draw, stamp, erase.
Oh, it works, but you have to set it up. You know, I don't have the time to do it now, but
Yeah, okay. Well, it's something, I'm glad you shared that because something that I'll try to explore a little bit in the future.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I gotta do a little more diving into this. So you don't even have to go to the meeting. You just hit the button, let it summarize and read it. And
Yeah.
it's going to
There
put a
you
lot
go.
of people out of business.
But hopefully not us.
Yeah,
Not us
exactly.
in better investing. We can all talk about it.
It's pretty funny. Can I ask you just a personal question?
Yes, Robert.
Did this scare you at all?
Scared?
Yeah, the ability
No.
to do what it does. It seems like it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. I wouldn't say scared. I would say cautious. There's some individuals in my one of my clubs that is leery about using it because you don't know for sure if you're getting the right answers, and you have to go back and check. And so the logic is, hey, if I have to go back and check, why do I want to use a large language model? Okay.
Mm.
And I can sort of understand that. So to answer your question, I am cautious. Everything that I've showed you here is my opinion, but I did, if I'm summarizing something, I went back and made sure that there was good correspondence. And so that's why, for example, I felt confident with ChatGPT in summarizing the earnings transcript for NICE. Caution is the word, I guess.
I would agree. I'm cautious. It is a little scary to me that we've come so far that it sounds when you're doing this, it's as if you're talking to a person, and that person comes back and even prompts you sometimes, or what feels like a person comes back and prompts you sometimes and asks, would you like more information? Or I could provide you with a table. Or, I mean, it's like you kind of almost feel like you got somebody talking to you on the other side.
Right. And that's, Jan, I'm glad you brought that up because that's that's what I found. In other words, I've got my follow-up prompts in mind, but I find that chatbot prompting me, do you want to know more about this? Do you want to know more about that? And yeah, it's sort of like talking to a person, but it's all statistics, you know,
Yeah.
and it's not a human being. And if you listen to the news, you know, should we be scared? You know, you listen to Elon Musk, and you know he's worried about the bots taking over the world. If you listen to the CEO of the high flying stock, what's his name? I can't. Anyway, it's you know, they're big in defense. They're big in Palantir. Okay,
Palantir.
Palantir's going through the roof, and you know his argument is, you know, stop trying to make these chatbots more human. Take what we have and apply it, and you know they're often running doing that. So again, caution is the word, and you know we're the horse is out of the barn. So you know let's ride it judiciously going forward.
It's a lot of fun, actually. I think it's so because
it is, and
you can apply
I think
it to so many different things.
Question.
Yes, Christian.
Do you think, in your opinion, in your research, are these AI models, large language models, mainly being made for the phone or for the desktop computer?
I will say for Apple, it's, you know, they're for the phone. And I don't know if anybody else has an opinion
it
on
also
this.
depends on your purpose, you know. If you are expecting a short answer, phone works better. But if you are expecting a longer answer with details and pictures and graphs, to me it works better on the laptop.
Yeah, I
Right,
did. 'Cause
I'm doing-
I signed up for ChatGPT Plus. I'm paying $20 a month for it, and I got it both on my phone and on my computer, desktop computer. And two totally, they it seemed like they're night and day. I guess the phone would be. It seems like it's more like a light version of the desktop, and I do have more flexibility on the. But it's just I know because so much is going towards the phones nowadays. Everyone's just kind of working and living off of their phones. I'm wondering if these big companies are they targeting one or the other? And I just was curious.
Right. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that they all want to be able to have access to their models via phone. I think if you're kind of like on the run, traveling or something, and you want to investigate something real quick, you use your phone. If you're going to do something more research oriented, like what I did here in testing all these models, you know, you need the desktop. But to answer your original question, from what I've read, Apple's a little bit behind. Again, from what I read, if somebody else has other opinions, let me know. But what they're trying to do is make sure this is available on their phone. That's their focus.
Okay, my connection's a little unstable, so I'm not sure if this question was answered yet, but there was a question, how can we best access the AI engines?
How best we can access. If you're talking about accessing a chatbot, the screen, what I have on the screen right now is what you can use. if that was the intent of the question.
Just go in and you can just put in Chat GPT and it'll come up. Or I think you can do the same thing with many of the others. I did that with the, with Grok. I just put in Grok, and then it asked me if I'd like to get the app, and I said yes. And it's a free app. I mean, what I got was free. I'm not paying for anything.
Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that, Janet, because that's what I think I need to do. What I found, for example, is I can access ChatGPT, Gemini. Right now, I'm accessing it through my Google account, and that's one of the options you have. The other way is that it'll ask you to create an account, and then you can create an account, and that's perhaps a more direct way of accessing these chatbots.
I'm sure it depends whether or not you're using an Apple product, like you're using an Apple computer, versus you're using a Microsoft system. So my laptop is not an Apple, and so it's different. I think you just kind of have to play around, but I think if you just type in any one of these, your computer's going to come back and ask you if you want an app or just directly put you into the site. Anybody else have that experience, or am I the only one who's been playing around with this?
Hey, I'm playing around with
I don't
it.
have a lot of time left. I don't have a lot of time left. I got to work on this.
Pictures are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a question?
No. I use quite a bit on different platforms and different. I have both a Microsoft as well as an Apple computer, so I can use them both, and I play with different things. I generate summary reports of scientific papers. I generate graphs and tables to go with the data I have. So I use quite a bit of these different tools.
Okay.
For tables, what do you use to generate tables?
Again, Copilot works better for me for tables.
Oh, okay. I think you could probably, like, if you hooked it up, or if you had an Excel, if you had an Excel page and you wanted to create let's say some kind of a graph, you can have Copilot do it for you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I have to play around with that a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, even Perplexity and Claude are also good for some of the data analysis I use.
One of the things I noticed, Shriram, on Copilot was that you could set the tone. It allows you to set the tone.
Yep.
If I recall. So, like, there's three phases. The lowest one is nothing but the facts. The second one, I think, gives you a little bit of colorful presentation, and if you have it on 3, it'll kind of give you a very artsy type response.
Yep.
Yeah, I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, even for stock screenings, that's a pretty good tool. We can use it, and yeah, I mean, I ask for, put some basic information and say, hey, suggest me something that fits this model. Like, give me 5 examples, and it does that.
Is Phil on this call? Phil, are you on the call? I thought he started out on it. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm here.
Phil is here. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Phil, do you ever use it?
I've used it a handful of times or so, just poking around.
okay.
As I think Mel alluded to, the better you make your prompt, the better the answer you're going to get.
You're right.
And again, I would, the Google prompt engineering presentation on Coursera, I thought was pretty good. And, but again, you have to, the Coursera's are what, $45 or something, relatively cheap. And I just thought it was kind of interesting to, see the best ways you can construct your prompts for the purpose that you're looking for. So I guess that's what I got out of that.
I wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea, I mean, for myself anyhow, to have a list of what I consider to be good prompts back and rethinking, oh, how do I want to prompt this? Because, depending upon what you're looking for, it would be almost better for me to have them written down in a notebook and say, hey, this is what I really want, and work from there. Just an idea.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things they said in the course on prompt engineering is have your book of prompts that you want to reuse. And on that line, Janet, the Ticker Talk presentation by Susie Artsberger earlier this month had a whole list of different kind of prompts that you might consider. So, I would heartily recommend that you take a little bit of time and, you don't have to listen to the whole Ticker Talk. It's in sections, but usually she had the front section. And so you can go through and listening to starting with the June 2024. And then I think November was another big one. She gave one on the applications of artificial intelligence in the medical field, which I found interesting. Not necessarily helps us write better prompts or anything, but it's kind of amazing, the things that are going on using artificial intelligence. And of course, that should interest us in the sense that, these are being applied by companies that we might want to invest in. So anyway, I heartily recommend checking out the Ticker Talk. There's 4 of them starting in June 2024, I recall, that really gets into that. And so anyway.
Hey,
I think I
Mel,
listened
can
to
I
them.
borrow the screen for a second?
Okay, want me to stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, why?
No, I should be able to take over. Let me see.
Okay, I stopped sharing there. Shriram, you're on.
Can you see my screen yet?
I can.
Okay, let me see what I'm going to type here. I just typed it on. I said
It's very
find
small.
10 stocks I can invest in with a 15%.
Can you make the words a little bigger? Just do Control plus, because it's really hard to read.
Control plus, I never did it.
I guess, there we go. There we go. Wow.
There you go.
Yep, thank you. I never did that, so thank you. That's annual return for next 5 years using better investing principle.
I'm surprised to see Caterpillar.
Yeah, again, I think it picked something that
Shrump, what before you type that in, what did you present? There was those 10 items above. Was that what you were presenting to Copilot? Scroll up. If you scroll up.
oh yeah. No, I was just playing with volunteer better investing.
Okay. So this had nothing to do with it,
No.
what you just typed. Okay,
No.
all right.
No, let's do the same thing in ChatGPT. So I tried doing this. It's not working. Sorry. Bear with me for 1 second.
Just copy it.
Sometimes it copies, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, I will. Let me see if this works again on this. Okay, can you all see this?
Yes.
And see, it goes through the principles. And then it gives the 10 stocks. And then I'm sorry.
Then it gives you, it gives you a little tutorial there.
Look at the next thing it says.
Would you like to download the table? Uh-huh.
So, on my phone, it actually gave me the SSG, all the data. Bear with me for 1 second. See, that's your section 2, section 3.
Yeah.
In a different format, but it gives you the even without doing a SSG, it gives you the information.
I think it's just amazing.
Yeah. Interesting thing about ChatGPT, if you ask it, what was the latest date you were trained on? I think the last time I did that, it was relatively recently. It was like November 2024. So I am surprised when, it gives you recent data like this, but then again, it's just combing the web.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, here we go. My training.
Yeah, June 2024.
Yeah.
But it said it actually, while I can access current information using live tools like I did for NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Very good. Anyway, I thought I was playing with it as we were speaking. I thought I would share this information. I know we are way
Thank
over
you.
our time limit.
Well, Sriram was playing, and we enjoyed your demonstration.
Yep, yep. Thank you, Mel. Chris,
Okay.
Thanks,
Hey,
everybody,
Michelle.
for joining
Yeah.
us tonight. You'll be able to find the slides on Better Investing on the OLC page, and you will be able to find the video on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, if you want to relive this experience. And I hope you'll join us at the next odd month, the next third Wednesday of the next odd month in July, when we're going to have some other cool things for you to learn. And thanks so much,
Okay.
Mel. You did a great job. That was amazing. Awesome.
Okay, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Thanks a lot.
Enjoyed sharing. Okay,
Bye-bye,
well, if we're
everyone.
finished then, we'll see you. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Mel.